Welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Johnston. If this is your first time here, this is a YouTube channel where we talk gear, and we mostly talk gear from the perspective of a guitar player working out of a studio. So if that's the kind of thing that would be helpful for you, I would love it if you hit that subscribe button. If you want to support the channel, there's a link to my Patreon down below that gets you into a private Discord full of very cool people, the kind of cool people that make you not care whether or not I'm in that Discord. At least that's been my experience. So if you want a cool place to hang out with cool people and talk gear and life and not gear, that's worth checking out. Let's get into our video. Today we're taking a look at a guitar that has become something of an obsession for me over the past month and change. This is my Heritage 535, part of the Ascent Plus collection. If you know anything about Heritage, you know that they are a guitar company operating out of Kalamazoo in the original Gibson factory, building really beautiful, incredible, high-end American-made Gibson style guitars, Les Paul styles, 335 styles, that kind of thing. But more recently, they introduced what they call the Ascent line, more specifically the Ascent and the Ascent Plus, which are a line of guitars built in China. And this is part of that lineup, which means this guitar costs under $700. As somebody with a lot of like really great high-end guitars here in my studio, I'm not kidding when I say I have been picking up this guitar more than almost anything else in my collection over the past month. This guitar is something really special to me. And I want to dive into what exactly has made this guitar so impactful to me. But first, let's get through some house cleaning when it comes to the instrument itself. This is part of the Ascent Plus line. In the Ascent line, there are basically the Ascent Standard and the Ascent Plus. Ascent Standards are going to be bolt-on, solid body, more inexpensive even than this. Landing is low as like around $200 up through below $500. Ascent Plus goes from above that $500 price point up towards near $1,000, with the 535 landing at $699. You have a set neck, you have non-locking tuners, you have front and back body bindings as well as a neck binding, you have dot inlays, you have the Perloid Heritage logo at the top. I don't know why I'm doing this. We're going to cut in for all of these with B-roll so you can see the actual details. You have a set of humbuckers in here of basically unknown origin, but I've been enjoying them. You have the classic Gibson setup of 2-volume, 2-tone, and a 3-way pickup selector. But this guitar also has push-pull potentiometers on the tone for both, allowing you to coil tap either the neck or the bridge separately from one another. The guitar has a compound radius neck, a very comfortable kind of classic C-shaped neck profile, and jumbo stainless steel frets. I've had this guitar for I think close to 6 weeks right now. I have not had it set up by anybody. It just kind of came out of the box ready to play. I just put a new set of strings on it a couple days ago, and I have to say, this guitar is a pretty insane value for money. The finish on this is beautiful. The neck is incredibly comfortable. The weight relief on it with that hollow body feels great. If something like that sounds like it is right for you, if this is something that you are interested in looking at, there is a link in the description box down below. It is an affiliate code. I actually don't know if I make any money on that. I didn't check. So it might just be for them tracking, but either way, if you want to pick these up and this video kind of inspired that in either direction, if you use that code, I assume it helps me out. I don't actually know. And I think at this point, we're going to get fully into editorializing on my part. So if you want to hear just the sound samples of this guitar, links in the description down below to chapter markers for everything we're going to dive into in terms of listening to this instrument. But I'm going to set it down because I just want to talk about what this guitar has kind of meant to me as an instrument. And then we'll get into the more kind of like sound sample stuff. So strap in if you want to. We'll endeavor to keep this somewhat brief here, mostly because if you want to hear me really wax at length about what I love about this instrument as a musician, I will link to a podcast I did recently with John over at Signal Path and Andrew over at Ambient Endeavors about this Ascent Plus series about 2 weeks ago, where we really got into the line of these guitars and what each of us love about them. But for me, this guitar has actually represented something that I have missed a lot about the instrument over the past 5 to 10 years, it feels like. I picked up the guitar initially not because a Guitar Hero inspired me and I wanted to learn how to kind of engage in the athletic art of moving around the fretboard. I picked up the guitar because I loved songwriters. I loved bands that wrote great songs with a couple of chords and a lot of emotion behind them. And after my last band split up and I started doing content online and I started getting really into the gear world, I have found that I've kind of slippery sloped my way into instrumental first, if not instrumental in exclusion music. And it's never really the thing that I fell in love with about the instrument. It's never really the reason I picked up the guitar. I always felt like I had picked up the guitar as an avenue to write songs, not as an avenue to be a guitar player, which should be evident to anybody who can tell how dexterous I am or am not on the instrument. But something interesting happened with the 535, which is I picked it up and I just found myself playing a lot of cowboy chords or simple power chords and just kind of strumming through old sad songs that I used to play all the time that I haven't done in a long time. And something really interesting happened, which is I started recording my voice again. And that process of recording myself again has really kind of coincided with me picking up that guitar and just wanting to play through big resonant cowboy chords unplugged with it. And then in turn, plugging it into an amplifier, grabbing a microphone, putting it in front of my face, and starting to actually record myself again. And I think this guitar also can fare really well as an all-arounder. And its out-of-the-box simplicity and comfort has been really nice in facilitating that. Like I said, I didn't have to get it set up when it showed up. I just kind of pulled it out of the box, tuned it up, and within like an hour, I was playing cover songs that I forgot I knew how to play. And not to kind of like over spiritualize the significance of an individual guitar. Ultimately, they are just wood and metal, and this might be apocryphal. I think it was Michael Guy Chislett like 15, 20 years ago who said all guitars have a finite amount of songs in them. And if you can find one where you don't run out of songs, that's a guitar worth keeping around. And this is a guitar that feels like it has songs in it for me. And I appreciate that about this guitar. I appreciate that it's kind of pulling to the surface a different side of my musicality. And I'm not saying that this is going to be your experience. Your mileage may vary on picking up a guitar like this. But I will also say that a guitar like this coming in at under $700 at $699 or whatever, and this Ascent line coming in down as low as like $190 or $249 or something like that is really compelling. I'm probably going to just go out and buy the bottom of the line Ascent just to kind of try it out and see if it plays as well as this guitar does, because I think that it's easy to end up in a certain camp guitar-wise, whether you are Jazzmasters or Telecasters or Gibsons or Stratocasters or whatever. But I think it's good to have like a decently well-rounded stable of instruments, and something like a big old 335 like this offers something foundationally different than most of what I use here in the studio, and being able to buy into a totally different guitar sound at this price has a lot of value too. So if it's a gap you're missing in your collection, if it's a sound you want to have but don't, this is a pretty reasonable way to get into that side of the guitar sound, and it's probably worth your time and attention if that's something that you're looking for. So let's go ahead and get into our sound samples. I'm going to be playing the Heritage Ascent Plus 535 right here into the Victory Amps Deputy. And this is like an 18 watt kind of Marshall Plexi voiced style amplifier. And we are running it into the Bad Cat Pure Path, running direct into Pro Tools. We will go ahead and make some kind of changes to the voice control and some gain and EQ kind of adjustments as we go, both to compensate for some volume changes when you do the coil splits on the guitar itself, as well as just to kind of like min-max for clean tones and for overdriven textures as we kind of walk through the range of the guitar. So let's go ahead and give this thing a listen.